everybody. 4:30 on our Monday afternoon. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins and
meteorologist Mike Prangley for the best show on earth. Great to be with you, Bobby, and hopefully you had a great weekend. Hey, it's Victory Monday. Our Buccaneers bringing home the victory.
Yes, it is. Wow, and that wasn't guaranteed. Certainly wasn't guaranteed. But we'll take it. We'll take all of those W's that we can get. It's a little soggy out there, Mike. We've had this pesky little low pressure system setting off just to our west out in the Gulf, and no tropical development of this system.
Yeah,
as of now.
Right. We take it, we take one step at a time this time of year, and luckily there's a lot of wind shear over this system. This would have been a lot different evening here on this Monday for sure,
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. And the Hurricane Center has nothing that they're watching for it. We're keeping a close eye on it, but the reason why we bring that up is because that's affecting your weather. We have that rain out there now. Those clouds that we've seen, that's from that low pressure. And we have a weather impact alert, as a matter of fact, to cover for all that, to give you a heads up that we've got weather that's not necessarily severe. Some minor flooding is possible, but that's kind of weather that basically is inconvenient, right? We're not used to having clouds and gray skies and rain all the time. So let's get started with it right now. I know my kids are riding home from school right now in the rain. So that's another reason why we have our weather impact alert. But the showers are starting to fall apart along the immediate coast. And that's pretty typical for the way these lows over water work. They will flare up overnight. So that means later tonight, the showers and storms that you see offshore that are weakening, they will fire back up and will continue to throw clouds in our direction. I'll show you that. Well, in fact, let's do it right now because we've got winds in the upper level blowing in from the west to the east, okay? They're blowing in from here to here up above. You see these clouds up here? Watch those clouds. You see how they're moving that direction? That's higher in the atmosphere. At the surface, they're not. You see the spin right here? There's the low right there. You see that? So at the surface, we don't have a lot of convection right around the center. That's what you need for a tropical system. All right, that's why we don't have a depression or a tropical storm out here right now because it's just not developing that way. The wind is shearing it apart. That will continue, and in fact, the whole low-level center itself will move off towards the west-southwest slowly over the next couple of days. It's going to take till Wednesday night before it's even further away from us, okay? And I think it gives us clouds most of this week, to be honest with you. So the rain is going to be falling apart. However, right now we've got some pretty good showers across the area, and unfortunately it's happening right during our evening commute. Central southern Pinellas County, we had some showers about a half an hour ago. They have finally started to dry up. You can see they are drifting off through northern Pinellas County, including Dunedin, Ozona, Tarpon Springs, all the way up McMullen Booth Road, basically up into Newport Richey, or at least almost there, right? So if you're heading that direction, expect some rain. None of this is severe, nor are we expecting severe thunderstorms or anything like that. However, you definitely could get some heavier rainfall. I know Northwest Hillsboro, that's where I live up in that direction. And man, we had a shower out there today. It was shaped like this, and it was moving in this direction. So it just kept going and going over the same spot. That's the problem with lows that develop off the coast. Okay, and that's, unfortunately, I think that's what we'll be dealing with over the next couple of days. You can see the rain here moving from west to east. Here it's actually moving a little bit, not moving much, but from east to west when you get up north of Crystal River, okay? So this lingers. We keep getting all of that weather that you see there. All right, now let's go out and look at the bigger picture. This is an old frontal boundary that has stalled off our coast, okay, and over top of North Florida. This is from all that really nice weather that they've been getting up north for the last couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks now, right? So this pattern is really setting up. And this time of year with warm water here and a frontal boundary stalled over there and even over here, we watch it for development of low pressures because they can develop tropically. That's why we're kind of keeping a very close eye on this low that you see right here, all right? Thank goodness for the wind shear. Because if we didn't have that wind shear, we'd be looking at a little different story, as Mike was saying there, where I think I had some wind shear. I'll show you that to you coming up here in just a little bit. But bottom line is it's going to blow it apart. Now, let's talk temperatures because we actually had some sun for inland locations, especially earlier today. And that got us warmed up, but now we've seen rain. We're down, 79 in Clearwater right now. We have 86 in Brooksville, 85 in Tampa, and 80 in Sarasota. Port Manatee, Bradenton's right around 82 degrees at this point. The forecast model shows this rain moving out as we move through about 6:30 to 7 o'clock. It's kind of rotating through, but then it tends to fall apart, but that's along the immediate coast. If you live inland, east of I-75, we still will keep a rain chance through about 11 o'clock, 11:30 tonight, okay? Slow moving showers and storms drifting basically from west to east across the state. And then overnight, I think most areas actually will stay dry. Can't rule out an isolated shower, but then notice what happens again tomorrow morning. Remember, we talk about the lows out there over the water. They tend to flare back up overnight. The land cools down. I mean, we're upper 70s and low 80s. That water's upper 80s. So you got temperature like this, and when you got that extra lift over the water, it makes more storms at night. During the day, that flip-flops sometimes because the land can heat up more. So I expect a very similar start tomorrow morning to what we saw out there for today. There's a live look outside right now in gray skies, yeah, but definitely water the lawn, that's for sure, to keep it green. The next 12 hours shows our rain chance really dropping off, 60 to 70% now, depending on where you are. And then really by 7:30, 8 o'clock, most of the rain is done. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, 40% chance for rain, especially along the immediate coast. We're talking west of I-75. That means bus stops, that means that commute to work. Yeah, you probably want to plan a little bit of extra time to get there, okay? Because I do think it's going to be a little soggy, and some of that's going to be heavy at times, but it will be patchy. So what we've seen yesterday and today was it's literally right along the beaches, and you move inland just a mile or two and you're not seeing much rain. Boating forecast, you can see we are talking east to southeast winds around 5 to 15 knots for tomorrow. It's kind of what we've seen out there for today. I do think they go around to the south briefly, but then we'll have to see them if they want to pick back up later in the afternoon, and that's what it looks like at this particular time. That low is going to deepen, but I think it moves a little further away. And as it moves further away, that's actually going to pull in a little more easterly wind. Now, expected rainfall. This is the European model, and this is why we have our weather impact alert, okay? Look at this coverage for tomorrow, 70 to 80% chance, okay? A little less on Wednesday, 60 to 70% chance. And then Thursday, what's happened is we're actually combining that low that's off the coast with that frontal boundary that you're seeing there. Let me back up and show you this. Because that frontal boundary will actually sink southward. You see this front here? That's to the north. It's stalled right now. That's going to get a little extra push and will be coming from here down to here by the time we get towards the end of the week. And here's the deal. It looks like now that we're going to get some of this really nice weather that they have up here, at least a better taste of it. We've been flirting with these fronts all last 2.5, 3 weeks that they've had it, right? They've just basically stalled out right where it is right now. Okay, we get a little taste of dry air. We had some last weekend, not much, but just a taste. I think we get a big taste as we get into this upcoming weekend. So really big news there. Now, as we talked about those temperatures, these are in the mid 80s. Right now, the average high temperature is 91 degrees, and that'll get ready to come down here just a little bit. The dew points is one way that we can measure the air masses. And is there any change in the air mass? And look what this is what we're talking about for Thursday night into Friday morning. Right now, the model suggests that somewhere around early on Friday morning, we're going to get a front to push through here and drag in some drier air. Now, it's tough to do that here this time of the year because we're just warm and muggy. The water's still warm, and obviously mugginess is just floating around here. But because it's been cooler and drier up north, it's not a big of a push to get this thing to come all the way down. And that's what it looks like the forecast models want to do. And you can see that as we go in through Thursday into Friday morning, 7 a.m. There it is. These are the dew points, but basically this is what's going to make it feel better to you outside, okay? And we're hoping that this hangs because it could change. It certainly could change. But right now, it's not only sticking around for Friday morning, but it goes through Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, and even into Monday and Tuesday of next week. And that would basically shut the rain off. Just think first cold front of the season. That's essentially what this is. Mike, we had one in Jacksonville. You got at least a little bit of it. You were up there at the time.
I ran like 10 miles, Bobby. I mean, this is unbelievable. The air mass, it just made a huge difference. And now it's our turn, Central Florida. Check this out. We even have a pumpkin spice update here. And this time around, we're talking at least a hint of fall for all of us here. And as we look at those dew points, Bobby showed you those dew points. Well, you know what? The temperature's like falling to those dew points in calm conditions. And we're going to start to see some calmer conditions behind that front late week. So some of the model data, and I'm going to skip way ahead. We're keeping our eyes on that weekend prize well into the 70s this time of year. So this is about 10 degrees below where we should be. And Tampa officially, we've got so much warm water. It's still going to be tough to drop, but it's going to feel good. It's not the heat, it's the humidity, right? So that 72 is going to it's never felt so good as my forecast for Sunday morning. And keep in mind, the record low is 67, set back in 1968. So you get just away from the water, and you will start to see those temperatures fall in a big way. So 72 Tampa, but by the time you get into Polk County, I wouldn't be surprised to see 65, 66 degrees. So coming up, we'll take a closer look at this big cool down from county by county, and a volcanic eruption you won't want to miss. And of course, the latest on the tropics and even some more good news. We'll see you after this.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. You need quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
These big trucks are dangerous and fast. And when it comes to big truck wrecks, the stakes can be really high. That's why you need a lawyer that's gotten big results for his clients. Hi, I'm attorney Dan Newland. I've recovered billions of dollars for accident victims. So if you've been hit by one of these big trucks or involved in a car accident, call me now. Let me fight for you at 813-888-8000. That's 813-888-8000.
Before hurricane season hits, it's time to prep your home. Secure outdoor equipment and generators. Clear debris from around your AC unit and schedule a pre-storm HVAC and electrical inspection.
Those are some great tips. And Cool Today is here to help you weather the storm. For over 60 years, we've been here to help Floridians with their cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. We can help you prepare, protect, and repair your home. Call 888-40
Jeopardy is for everybody.
That's amazing. Oh, yeah.
With players just like you.
Paramedic, retired teacher, psychiatrist.
I'm a little bit competitive.
That's the spirit.
Watch their victories.
We have a giant killer.
And heartbreaks.
Oh, no.
The next super champion could be anyone.
It's almost like a superhero origin story.
It could be you.
Oh, wow.
It's all happening on Jeopardy.
Jeopardy weeknights at 7:30 right here on 10 Tampa Bay.
Well, meteorologist Bobby Deskins and meteorologist Mike Pringley here, yours truly, and we're going to brighten up your day. I know it's been kind of a dreary Monday, but we're keeping our eyes on this weekend prize that it can't come soon enough. We've been waiting for this really since late April, early May, where we've seen some of these low temperatures. We haven't seen anything like this in over 4 months. 62 near record lows. This is for areas of Citrus, Hernando, and Pasco County. So my weather pick, and really I'm picking out some of the coolest weather we'll see this weekend, would be as you head up toward Inverness, okay, Floral City. Oh yeah, I'm talking 62 degrees. And again, something that will be near record lows up that way. Now we go a little farther south. We talked about the warm water. Of course, Tampa still has the water temperatures well into the 80s, I believe the mid 80s right now. So I think the coolest spot, again, would be away from some of that water. So we can go 69, maybe up toward areas of the Hillsborough, Pinellas County line,
Can you
for
go?
instance.
Can you go 6-7? I know the kids at home would like 6-7.
6-7. That's
6-7.
very popular. I heard about that.
Yeah,
6-7.
yeah. I don't know, but they'd love that.
Well, the record low we know is 67.
6-7.
6-7. Yeah. So 1968 on that 6-7. So we'll be close to it in some of those inland areas. So that's kind of cool. To the south we go. Even Manatee, Sarasota County. You know, we showed that front having a good push to the south. I think it could get all the way to the Keys. Pretty amazing. So you see it feeling like October with that low of 70 for our areas, even in toward areas of Lakewood Ranch. And then 67, again, by the time you head inland toward areas of Lake Wales, Winter Haven, yeah, enjoy it while you can. I do see temperatures back in the mid to upper 60s. So we're excited about the last time Tampa's low temperature dropped into the 60s.
17 years ago. I don't know. Feels like it. When was it?
Okay, April 30th.
Whoa,
okay, April 30th, amazing. So here it is. It is forecast here. I've got a taste of fall, sensational on Saturday, 70 and a high of 86. So we got plenty of Monday motivation in the show. See, this is why you tune in at 4:30 every day. And we got pumpkin spice and everything that's nice on Sunday near record lows. That's 69 for Tampa, a high of 87, sensational degrees. And for football, never too early. Of course, USF, I want to congratulate the Bulls. They've beaten 2 ranked teams in 2 weeks. They're going to go for 3-0.
That is 18th ranked ranked bulls to you there, sir?
18, and yeah, I'm a Gator dad, so really I should have worn Bulls colors today to show my respect, but I did not expect that for sure. We take a look at a low rain chance in Miami. I think they have a chance, feeling nice, and the dew points even in Miami, Bobby, I was looking at upper 60s. Out there. So that's going to be some great football weather. Now, we said enjoy it while you can. Here's the reality check. It's still early September, and this is weather we normally see later in October. And you can see as we head toward the middle of September and the end of September, back into better chances, at least, of seeing temperatures back closer to the 90-degree mark. But I got to show you this. So we got Hurricane Kiko out in the Pacific, and this is good news for our Hawaiian island friends. It's on the weaker side of the system, and it's weakening right now. A Category 1, wind sustained at 85, but notice skirting to the north of the islands as a tropical storm as we go into later tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So really the rough seas and surf, the big thing for our friends. But there may be more of a threat from a volcanic eruption. And if we have our director, I say let's fire up some video. This is just kind of breathtaking. Isn't that gorgeous? Gorgeous, but yeah.
They've got, what's amazing to me is they have cameras mounted there.
I know.
Those are USGS cams, and they've been capturing these eruptions at Kilauea. This is Kilauea, I assume, right?
Yes, Kilauea. We have not seen anything like this since December, biggest volcanic eruption. And in fact, you look at that magma, that lava flow, we're talking about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's causing, it's actually building up to about 33 stories high. I believe it was 330 feet high, some of that ash there. And it's creating this special glass, I guess, and there's some warnings about this. And I've never heard of this, Bobby. I've heard of Pele, the soccer player, but not Pele's shards. So they're
shards.
Saying, Pele's hair. They're saying beware of Pele's hair because of this. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's been doing, volnados or volcanados, right?
It has. It's so hot at the surface while you're seeing these whirlwinds develop because it's so hot. And of course, you got the cool air aloft that's being drawn in on the leeward side of the mountain. And there's these incredible pictures. But good news is the lava should not affect people. All right, so that's the big thing.
Well, the lava and the volnados or volcanados,
the volcanados,
or they're like dust devils, but what do you call them? Ash devils?
Ash devils.
Ash devils.
It's a new term I learned today.
They're all in the caldera. They're not coming out of there. So that is the good news.
Ashnado,
and in fact, I have a video of it. If you go to my Facebook page, Bobby Deskin's Weather, I made a couple videos. That's on YouTube as well. Right. Mike, let's jump over to the Atlantic now and look at the tropics, because we had Invest 91L sitting way out there in the eastern Atlantic. Remember, if you looked at Thursday and Friday, it was sitting out here with a 90% chance of development. Well, it's gone now. There's nothing there. And it's obviously clearly not going to develop. So now they're saying no development is expected the next 7 days. If you look out there now, there's a couple of waves out there. You can see this one. This one's actually pretty far to the south. You can see Barbados is up in here, okay? That's pretty far to the south. This one coming off, there's the Cape Verde Islands. No real organization with this one either. At this point, there is so much Saharan dust still in the atmosphere. And I say that because late May, but really June and part of July, we tend to see a lot of this kind of dust, all right? And what it does is it literally dries out the atmosphere. This is dust and sand kicked up in storms that when they go over the Saharan desert, like a dust storm essentially, and it floats up into the atmosphere and it comes off of Africa, and usually it falls apart as it works its way to the west. And that is what's happening here. You can see how thick it is here. It just came off versus how, less thick it is. That's actually pretty thick for this time of the year. And I was going to say, usually through July, it starts to get thinner and thinner and thinner. And this is a natural thing. And in fact, Saharan dust feeds a bacteria in the Eastern Gulf that red tide feeds on. Okay, so we really don't want this because that was more food for red tide. But we've had a lot of it this year. We've had a lot. It made it all the way here. Let me take this out. This is going to go out. I'm going to stop it around Wednesday. And what you're seeing is the forecast right here for dust. Okay, you see how that's kind of shaped like that? This is essentially what's left of that wave that was going to develop. Had that 90% chance for development, was going to be in the islands around Wednesday, the 10th. By the way, statistical peak of the season, okay? Not happening, obviously, and you can see all the dust that's coming through. And then you look at the atmosphere back behind it, and there's going to be a lot more dust coming through as well. So it's a very stable, sinking air atmosphere that the tropics are looking at right now in what we call the MDR, the main development region. And that's this area. You can kind of draw a box right out in here, okay? That's it. And This time of year, that's where a lot of our storms come from, and it's been shut down at least temporarily. Okay, look, the peak of the season is the 10th. We still have the other half of the season, and some could argue that really it's September and October anyways, where you tend to see a little bit more of the storms. This is a look at the forecast model. So the yellow lines are the GFS, the Euros, the green lines. This takes us out through Thursday. You don't see much. You see this little low here that'll go into South America. Not concerned about that. Let's go out to the weekend. This is Saturday. Let me back this up here. I just want to see what that low's doing. The Europeans trying to put a little low east of North Carolina, you can see, but that would be moving up and out. But there's nothing there. Okay, now watch as we get into next week, a week and a half from now. You see that? Look right there by the Yucatan. See that south of Tampa, that little yellow line there? That circle right there by the Yucatan? That's the GFS model saying it looks like a low tries to develop there. This is about a week and a half out, okay? And that's what the GFS does. Watch, it'll make it even bigger as we get even closer. See, it drifts it into the Gulf of Mexico. That's not unheard of. Right? It's not unheard of that you get a low to develop out of the Western Caribbean into the Gulf. That's what tends to happen late September and during the month of October, okay? But that's the GFS model, and that's what it does near the end of its line every time. Days 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, it does something crazy there. So right now, looking at all that, I just don't see anything at least the next 7 days, and that's what the Hurricane Center is saying, no development expected. We'll watch this low in the Gulf. Even then, I doubt that it develops. There's so much wind shear there, and the same thing goes on the other side of the state out in the east, on the Atlantic, east of Florida. There's where we are. We're just about to the statistical peak of the season, so keep in mind we still have all of September and October. And Mike, the MJO is coming back into a negative phase, a phase that actually is more lift in the atmosphere, less wind shear in the Atlantic. So we'll see if that helps. We're thinking the middle and the end of September could have a little bit more activity. But
at the Pringley family dinner table, they say, Dad, when's it coming? I mean, we know it's going to ramp back up. I'm saying, well, just wait till last week of September, October. So that's a good point you make. We got to keep our guard up. There's going to be more lift in the atmosphere, and things like we've seen can change in a hurry. But here on this Victory Monday, we appreciate you joining us. We want to see some more of your pet pictures. We've had Molly Moose, a nicer jersey, Bucks jersey than I even have. So isn't that beautiful? So the Buccaneers play Houston on Monday night next week, and temperatures will be close to 90 at kickoff. So the Bucks hopefully make it 2-0. So that's another weather fact. And of course, keeping our eyes on the weekend prize here at home. We're talking about our nicest weather. Boy, I think I can make a case since at least April. What do you think, Bobby?
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's what it was. 60s, right?
Yeah.
That's TPA. That's the lowest. The last time we were in the 60s.
April 30th.
Yeah, we're going to be close. If we didn't have that warm water, that would help us out. And that's the other thing, Mike. These fronts that come through and dry out the air a little bit, when we get those overnight lows lower, it lets the water cool just a touch.
Just a little